two speakers about speechcraft is DTM Jeff Rufenacht. Jeff is the first member of our club to earn his DTM. He is a two-time Toastmaster of the Year and 5-time winner of the annual Communication Cup. Please welcome Jeff with the speech titled, Give Your Gift.
I have the impossible task of presenting what some professionals take a day or two and to do it in 15 minutes. If this was a podcast, I'd be speaking at 1.5. So are you ready? All right, strap in, hang on. Here we go. I'm going to talk before, during, and after the speech and then give some takeaways. First of all, starting with before, and I have 5 always or ongoing. The first is every week is a 90-minute learning lab. Pay attention, study everything that's happening for that 90 minutes. Next, be an evaluation expert. And Tim Linger's going to talk about evaluating, but you don't have to be an evaluator to evaluate. Those white slips, study the speaker, treat that white slip like you're going to be giving a 2-minute evaluation. I can't tell you how many people I see that the slip just sits there blank, or how many of you have gotten these that says, good speech. Take a little more time and you can become expert. When is a 90-minute meeting not a 90-minute meeting? We have people that show up before 7 and some people are still there till around 10 o'clock. So if there are people's brains that you want to pick about speechcraft and other topics, come to the meeting early, stay after. Jack of all trades, volunteer for all roles. Each will add breadth to your speaking. Finally, of the ongoing musical mentors. You can change mentors at any time. And you can even ask for a mentor for a single speech if you think they have a specific skill that might be of help to you. Now, the before. Get on the path. Sign up for pathways. And Kathy will be talking about that in a few minutes. Stay on the path. Actually follow pathways. Most members are not. I can tell you in the old system, we had 15 advanced manuals with 5 speeches each for a total of 75. I did 62 of those 75. Every one of them challenged me and took me out of my comfort zone. Fit like a glove versus shoehorn or square peg, round hole. What do I mean by that? The speech should fit into these Pathways project. You don't want to shoehorn your Pathways project into the speech you already have planned in your head. That moves right into topic selection. How do you pick a topic? Well, what's on your heart? Again, look at the project first. The speech should fit into the project. For example, vocal variety speech, I talked about when I was at airborne school in the Army jumping out of airplanes. My bed speech came from the speech project getting comfortable with visual aids. Speech topics could come from table topics that are being given if you're just paying attention for that 90 minutes as we talked about already. Could be other people's speeches, could be hobbies, family, life circumstance. What is off limits? Has anybody heard that we don't talk about politics or religion at Winter Park Toastmasters? I'm here to tell you that is a myth, that is a lie. If you had heard that, you can talk about anything you want. Can you vote for a speech you don't agree with? Yes. Of course! There are people that think you have to agree with the content. We look at content, we look at delivery. We're not judging the content if we agree or not. We're just judging the content by, is it good content? Finally, you've selected your topic. Ruminate before you start writing. I can tell you I've been thinking about this for days before I ever put pen to paper or hands on keyboard. Bullet points or word for word? Yes.
Bullet points. Outline.
Bullet points or word for word? The answer is yes. Try both. I was talking with someone beforehand. She said she's only written it word for word. I said maybe try one with bullet points and see. And it may vary by speech. There will be speeches that should be word for word. There may be some that should be bullet points. Practice, 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 and time it so you don't go over like I did on 5 of my first 10 speeches. Introducing the introduction. Blake already covered a lot of this. We need to know what your goal is, and we need to know why we should listen to you. Amy told me my intro was self-aggrandizing, but I wrote it because I wanted to show that I had a reason to be here talking about speechcraft. Your evaluator, don't be a stranger. Send them a copy of your speech. Talk to them the day prior or at least the day of. Tell them what you're working on specifically above and beyond pathways. For example, vocal variety, gestures, moving with purpose. Paper pitfalls and screen strategies. I have seen people with paper doing this, flipping all kinds of things. No, no, no. We should never see the paper. If you use a screen, please don't pop up your laptop up here. If you have a flat screen like an iPad, that is fine. That can sit right here. Hand your written or typed, hopefully in large font, intro to the Toastmaster and have them read it beforehand. Have them read it out loud. I saw it messed up this past Friday even. Have them read it out loud in front of you, and you can point out anything you want to emphasize. IT troubles and vexing visual aids. I have seen so many speeches torpedoed by visual aids. They're leaning down to get their visual aids. They're turning around to get their visual aids. They're getting ready to cue the IT and nothing happens. Check the IT beforehand. Enlist the help of fellow Toastmasters if you need. Have it in front of you. Have it easily accessible so it does not take away but adds to it as a visual aid, not a visual detractor is the goal. Showtime. Show up before 7:30. Carmela already talked about being punctual. How else do you get with your evaluator or with the Toastmaster unless you show up early? So that's before. Next we move to during. False starts. When does a speech start? When the Toastmaster begins introducing you, you should be up. Please stand with me for a moment. Please stand. It just mirror me. How does this feel? Not very good, right? Now do this. It's just a pleasant expression. Not a serial killer expression, but just a pleasant expression. Have a seat. Stand before you deliver. Eye contact with the audience, hands to the side. Just a pleasant expression. To lectern or not to lectern. There has been this pervasive myth out there, this pervasive lie that says it is a substandard, inferior speech if you are behind the lectern. I bet that everybody that speaks tonight is behind the lectern. It does not matter if you're in front or if you are behind. It is whatever works for you. Open seas to the mountaintops. Please stand with me again. And just do this. Have you ever seen this? All right, now stop. In yoga, we call this mountain pose. Feet are planted. Do you feel the strength? There's some gravitas that comes. Okay, I see that, Carmela. There's some strength that comes. Have a seat. When you're swaying, that belies any confidence that you might have. The next one we call the wanderer. The wanderer. They wander around, around, around. Have you seen this one? They're talking. I don't know why they're moving, but they're moving all around. Sometimes they're left to right. Sometimes they're on the moving sidewalk. They're coming forward. They're going backwards. They're moving. The thing is, move with purpose. That's the goal. If you're going to move, have a reason. And this goes right into my next point, when right is left and left is right. It all started in my childhood. I had a wonderful childhood with a lot of love. But then I got to college and I went completely off the rails. Next thing you know, I'm in my 20s going, why is my life falling apart? Well, I look back to my childhood and I said, it couldn't have been then. I had a lot of love. It must have been when I was in college and I went off the rails. Did you follow me? I set it up, but I was right to left, but this was your left to right chronologically. And just from childhood to college to my 20s, I've just set that up for you. And now as I point, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I point there. That's moving with purpose. Next, RESPECT. You don't have 7 minutes. You have 7 minutes times the number of people in the room. Tonight I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 times 15, whatever that is. That's how many minutes I have. Consider that. I considered that as I was preparing for this, how many people that I would have. Be respectful of the audience, and that goes right into dress for success. Also, clean up on aisle 9. Keep it clean. We don't need double entendre. We don't need innuendo. We don't need any type of dirty joke, off-color humor. This is key. A speech is nothing more than a conversation with added zeros. think of it as a one-on-one conversation. Who is not comfortable in here having a one-on-one conversation? Just one-on-one, before the meeting, after the meeting. And all a speech is, instead of 1, it's 10. It's 100. It's 1,000. And the goal is, whether it's 10 or 100 or 1,000, you want each member of the audience to feel as if you're speaking directly to them. Which takes me to my next point. Show me your hands. How about instead of this, how many of you, with a show of hands, suddenly I'm not speaking to you, am I? Because I just said, how many of you? How about if I said, have you given a speech yet? And then you can raise your hand with me if you have, but I'm speaking to you. Gesticulating gestures. If you are thinking about gestures, then you are thinking too hard and you're doing it wrong. Just do what comes naturally. You would never do that in a one-on-one conversation. Why do we do it up here? Vocal variety is the spice of life. You can get loud. You can get soft. You can get fast with Will Hammond when he's being chased in a bicycle by a guy. Or you can slow it down when you have a point to make. And that takes me to my next point. Perfect, poignant pauses. Especially when you ask a question. Don't ask a question and keep talking. Give us a minute to process. You're familiar with your speech. We've never heard it before. And tying all this together, remember, this has been proven for decades. Speechcraft and communication in general is only 7% the words we say. It's 55% body language, and it's 38% vocal variety. So speak accordingly. 3 types of consciousness. This is another big takeaway. Self-consciousness, speech consciousness, and audience consciousness. The self-consciousness is the nervousness. Oh gosh, everybody's staring at me. I'm so nervous. I've got to overcome my fear. This is the year. This is the year I'm going to do this. I'm going to overcome my fear. And most people leave when they move from that to speech consciousness. Because they say, I did it. I overcame my fear. What speech consciousness looks like is, I am so enamored with my speech, I am going to get each and every word of my speech right. How weird would it be if I had a one-on-one conversation with you and said, Blake, how are you doing today? Pretty weird, right? Remember, it's a one-on-one conversation. We move from the speech consciousness to audience consciousness. That's the goal. We're so comfortable with ourselves. We're so comfortable knowing we have something of value to bring. Now we take time and we connect. Can you feel the difference? I mean, right now, the connection. That's the goal. Know your audience. And let's talk about when your audience is not your audience. Victoria gave us a great example of this a few weeks ago, and you set this up in your intro. What she did, we went from being Winter Park Toastmasters to being attendees at her golf expo because she set it up that way. And said, okay, you're at the golf expo. She's about to pitch you with a plea for money for her nonprofit. Respond and evaluate her in that way. You can set it up for anything you're doing out there. Just let us know in here and we can evaluate you that way. Also remember, there's 3 types of learners. Auditory, visual, kinesthetic. I've had you stand twice, had you raise hands one time. You're seeing me, you're hearing me. That hits all 3 of those. Finally, remember your mindset. It's not about you. It's not about your trophy. Thanks, 2 minutes. It's about your audience. What is in it for them? What value are you bringing to us? Not for the 7 minutes, but the 7 times the 50 people in the room, the 300. What are you going to bring to us that I feel like a better person having heard you speak? Now we're done. After, check your ego and go into learning mode. Listen to your evaluator and take notes. Converse with your evaluator after the meeting. Read all the white slips. Watch your speech. Then reflect. What one area can I improve on before my next speech? For me, after my icebreaker, it was button your jacket. That was my takeaway. After my second speech, it was wait until the applause dies down before I start speaking. And I've never made that mistake since. I button my jacket and I wait. Just pick one thing, and after you've done 10 speeches, 20 speeches, 30 speeches, you will see the improvement. Sign up for your next speech and enjoy the process. Takeaways. If you checked out for the past 14 minutes, just remember this. 90% of your energy for Speechcraft, 90% of your energy should be spent listening and observing. 90% of your effort should take place before you say a word and 9% should take place after. This is only 1% of the process. And remember, a speech is just a one-on-one conversation with added zeros. All of us here, the presenters tonight, the long-term members of Winter Park Toastmasters, we're on the same path. We're at different points in the same path, but we're all on the road to better communication. We're on your side, we're on your team, cheering you on. Now go and share your gift with the world through speaking. What's your gift, you ask? The gift is what only you have to give. Yourself.
Let's hear it for you.